States of America,
to the republic
to the
for which it
republic
stands,
for which it
one
stands,
nation,
one
under
nation,
God,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I just was on.
Good
the
evening,
meeting.
everybody. Roll call.
Jeff Renahan, First Ward.
Bill Carlos, Second Ward.
Hey, John.
Jessica Lopez, Third Ward.
Michael Safone, Fourth Ward.
Matthew Wolver, Fifth Ward.
Ann Church, Sixth Ward.
Felicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson.
Hey, can you hear me?
Attorney for the town.
Jay Bailey, Town Supervisor.
Everybody's
Okay,
all
it
present.
just kicked me off, so now I'm trying to sign back on.
Paul, if you can mute yourself, that would be great.
Small business in Virginia. He's gone through some of the same difficult decisions.
Bob,
Okay,
gonna-
thanks.
can everybody out there please mute themselves at
That's
this
what we
time?
lose it.
Um,
So it says these,
Tonight's presentation, we're going to have a presentation on Turner property on
I can't hear
261
anything that they're saying.
Violet
Here I
Avenue.
am. I don't know if I'm,
Who will be
Paul, we are
presenting?
able to hear you if you can mute yourself.
Pretty sure he's going to be doing the presentation.
Paul, will you be doing the presentation tonight?
Hey, come here a minute.
Give him a minute. Paul,
That doesn't mean me, does it?
he's trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Does that mean me?
Yeah.
Why should I be in there?
Bob?
Mary had a question. She tried to register for the MRC and couldn't. Mary, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud.
Bob, can you please mute yourself?
Great. I want to thank you for your.
There we go.
Thank you.
Paul, can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Okay. You can-
Yes.
You can go ahead whenever you're ready to start.
Okay, would you like me to, no, we'll just, oh, hold on. All right, there I'm back. Okay, we submitted a preliminary idea for apartment layouts on the Flower Barn property owned by the Turners. I don't know if they might be on the line here with John Lombardi. John, are the Turners on, or Alan and Mrs. Turner on?
Yes, Alan's here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so there, the owners are on also. And we'll have, part of this, the Flower Barn property, is the existing flower business with a residential home on the front. And in the rear of the property, there's two big glass greenhouses that were where they used to, grow their flowers and for their business. But many years ago, that became not viable. So they have switched, haven't used that area in a long time. And they want to come up with some use to, try to raise some income off of their property and put up something that may help the community. They are zoned R20 residential right now. And we would have to start with a zoning change for the Turner property, as there is the adjoining property to the north is a, I think MR, if I remember correctly. And so we made a sketch plan of a proposed layout of apartment buildings staying under the required amount of apartment units you can get on the property, square footage, those requirements, and that's on the plan. And with driveway entrance off the town of Poughkeepsie Road, not off of Route 9G to start. And I labeled the plans Phase 1 and Phase 2 because they'd like to build the back out first as possible. This will be an expensive endeavor. And then later, when they're ready to not have the flower business anymore, and Mrs. Turner's mother still lives in the house on the property, so they want to keep that here while she's, still alive and well and living with everybody here. And then eventually, Phase 2 would be to finish the front property off of 9G also as an apartment unit. Has everybody seen the PDF that had emailed into the town?
I did send it around. Is there any way you could share your screen of that, or?
Yep,
Or is that-
I had the thing, share screen. Share. Now let me just bring up the PDF. How's that? Did
That looks
work for
good.
everybody?
Perfect.
That way the people at home can see it?
Yep.
And we can still hear you talk?
Excellent. So you see Barrett Avenue is a road off of Route 9G. The MR property is just to the north of the property, which would be the say the bottom of the screen on the left, where my cursor is. That's the MR property in this area. The rest of these are residential houses that are on both sides. I can bring up a parcel access overview of it if you want to see it.
Paul, what's going to
in the
go where
backs-
the wetlands are? What's underneath the wetlands?
That's one of the existing greenhouse buildings. They're in an L shape. I have them in dashed lines. One is here. They're too long, probably like 25 feet by 100 feet buildings. And, they're in an L shape here with a building with some mechanicals in it to connect the two. So the existing greenhouse falls actually in the wetlands. I mean, this is wetlands as it's scaled in and mapped off of parcel access. We realize for this project, we'd have to, get an official mapping of it. It is a wet area. But as far as official wetlands, we'd need a professional to designate the exact limits there. But, and it's not state wetlands, they're federal wetlands, which makes them a little easier to deal with. So the idea would be is to have the entrance come in off of Barrett Avenue, have a couple apartment buildings. The property up here where it says Turner property, that's the Hyde Park School District property for Violet Avenue Elementary School. So we wanted to build we had a bunch of ideas for parking lots in the back, buildings in the back, parking lots in the front. But I think we ended up thinking the better to parking closer to Barrett Avenue. I drew in some landscaping here, but obviously we would need full landscaping plans and everything else. We threw around the idea of having a pocket park or a dog walking park or some sort of recreational area, but there are pluses and minuses to that, as a lot of this area back in the upper right of the property is existing woodlands. So, you weigh the benefit of cutting down trees that may border some other properties to add this, but, we would work to find something that works in there, whether it's a dog walk or some other things, and minimize cutting trees. On Barrett Avenue is both town sewer and town water, so we would be able to utilize both of those services and bring them up to some centralized area here and at the top of the area between the parking lots, and branch off for the different buildings. I did the back area here, this stage 1 development, the big back rectangle. I don't know if I have all my things here, or if I have those on a different document, but we kept, it required 7,260 square foot per dwelling unit. We came up with 24 units back here, which would require 174,000 square feet. I guess this one I just copied. I forgot to do the change in the front, but they both fall underneath it, and I got that on a different document for the density of the areas. We didn't want to keep it up to the maximum density, as we wanted to be sensitive to the residential area, as all these lots here that come off of Barrett are each a residential house here, and also on the back side of the property. You want me to bring up a parcel access file to get a look of it? I don't know if anybody's had a chance to see it or
Yeah.
is that familiar?
If you could, Paul, do that.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, there we go.
Can you zoom out a little?
Let me try here. This is a picture, so let me see. It's not giving me many options here at all.
It's probably because it's a photo file. Maybe I can do my question. This is Paul, this is Bill Carlos.
Hi, Bill.
I'm looking at a zoomed out view of the parcel access, and where your wetlands is on the parcel access map, I'm assuming that that blank lot just to the north of your greenhouse is where your driveway is going to be. If you zoom out,
this is Barrett Avenue at the top of my screen.
right, exactly right. So your driveway is going to come in from
Right there.
Barrett Avenue,
Yes.
right there.
Yep.
Do you know if that's a drainage area for the water north of Barrett Avenue?
I don't believe the drainage drains onto the Turner
If you
property.
zoom out a little bit more, you will see a significant wetlands area that goes all the way up to the pond on Hudson River State property.
Alan,
All that
maybe,
water comes down through there. So my concern would be, if we were to change the residential density here, how are you going to deal with maintaining the flow of the water through the site?
I don't believe it does flow through the site, but Alan, can you or Catherine speak to this as you guys have lived on this property for a long time? Or,
Hey, Paul, this is John Lombardi.
hey, John?
John Lombardi, Amity Construction. I'm doing the demolition and development for the Turners. On the opposite side of Barrett Avenue, where the Barrett Avenue Trailer Park is, that would be to the north. That is where the passage of the wetlands continues parallel from the Violet Avenue towards the west or to the Hudson River State Hospital. This access road coming in is not in that path, or there's no wetlands in that area whatsoever. It's across the street. Okay, so the wetlands to the south of your site, south of the long greenhouse, that area, where does the water come for that area from? That's basically just a pocket. It's a low void in the land. That's what created that. It's just a spot wetlands. It's not continuous. Okay. That's why I think when we get a little farther down the road, we can get some delineation to actually flag it and show what we're talking about. But there's just that's a low pocket where the water is trapped, and farther to the west, the elevation kind of comes back up, and that's where the power lines run parallel with the edge of the Turner's property line. That elevation is a lot higher, and then back towards Violet Avenue or towards the east, the elevation comes up fairly high. The difference in elevation is probably, I would say, 15 feet. So that's just a small little pocket where the water's trapped. Okay, thanks.
Does anybody else from the public have any questions?
Well, I just had a question. This is Jeff talking. How about the neighbors? What has been received by the neighbors about this project?
Well, at this point, this is, we
Very
just
new.
asked for this preliminary type meeting to, hear the concerns of the town going forward. We haven't had any interaction with these residential houses and people specifically, unless Alan or Catherine, if you guys have personally with some of them maybe?
Because I'm just looking at, they're going to be coming off, you said Barrett, right? That street, it looks, I don't know the area, I'll be honest there. It looks like a smaller street. So, I mean, what is it? Looking at 34 units altogether, when it's all said and done, that's a big increase in traffic on, is that a smaller street?
I mean, it's a two-lane street. If you look over here on the right, it's literally only, 500 feet off of Route 9G.
Yep.
It's not a significant distance down this road. And farther down the road, when we build the last, or if they did build the last 10 to 15 units, the entrance could be, well, for that building at least, will come off of 9G where there's an existing commercial entrance there. And maybe, I'm sure we could come away to tie it all together. As you see now, the driveway that comes off, ties through the flower barn and the residential property here. And then there's a gravel driveway that winds through the past the greenhouses and then out to the side to Barrett. So we could make that connection and eventually have the main entrance off of Route 9G. That would not be an issue.
Paul, what are the other properties on Violet
Because,
Avenue?
oh, I'm sorry, I'm just wondering also about, like, if this builds up the lighting, that would be back there and everything else in regards to, the residents right there.
It's spotty.
Yeah, that's.
Well, keep in mind also the active flower barn that's up to the east side of it. All their truck deliveries and stuff that deliver to the flower barn for their flowers and all their customer traffic, a majority of them, after they purchase, don't go back out to Violet Avenue. They come along the florist and out the Barrett Avenue roadway that we have proposed. It's a gravel roadway now, so that's pretty well heavily traffic activity through that whole area as we speak, and it's been like that for some time already.
Okay, that's all I have.
Any other board members have any other comments? No, Paul, we'll look into this, we'll discuss it amongst ourselves, and we'll get back to you. And on your front page there, could you please change Town of Hyde Park to Town of Poughkeepsie?
Oh, there you go.
Just a small change, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I know we're in front of town of Poughkeepsie, but Violet Avenue's in the Hyde Park School District, so my brain just put that down.
That's right.
Yep,
Just
we'll
saw
get
it,
that.
just, yeah, we'll
We'll get that
discuss it
fixed.
in-house.
I know I had the numbers of the dwelling in those areas wrong in the front too. I didn't fix those numbers, so I'll have a couple of minor adjustments. Okay, we'll look forward to hearing back from you and then seeing how we move forward, to hopefully go for the zoning change for this property.
Yeah, Paul, we'll have the councilman reach out to yourself or the Turners, and then he can relay back the information with the head of development, where our next steps are.
Okay, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
All right, thank you. Bye.
That brings us to the end of our presentations. Committee reports, finance?
Nothing to report.
Well, on finance, I'll report that we've been meeting on a daily basis with the comptroller to make sure we're in touch with all our numbers, where we are going forward to sales tax, mortgage tax, building permits, traffic tickets and fines and everything coming in to see where we stand right now. We're holding our own, and we'll keep an eye week to week to see where we go forward from here. Number 2, technology.
Matt, you there?
Matt?
I think we lost him.
That's
Looks
okay.
like he stepped away.
He stepped away, so
right.
Mike or Ann on that, did you have a meeting or anything?
No, nothing to report.
Okay.
Well, I'll report on technology since Mr. Welty is happily sitting there paying attention. Tomorrow, Municipality will be going live. I want to thank Mr. Welty and his team downstairs for bringing this to fruition. It's a project we've wanted for years, and Mike took it. They went through all the departments. They picked the right vendor, and Mike and his team downstairs made sure it worked through it. Even during these times, all the meetings were Zoom meetings, no in-house meetings. And if I'm correct, Mike, we're still on target for tomorrow to go live?
Yes, yeah, we're all set to go live tomorrow morning, and so it's going to be a big change downstairs in building, planning, and zoning, and then it will affect some of the other departments as well, but I think we're in pretty good shape.
Congratulations, Mike, good job.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, again,
Thank
thanks to
you.
your team for doing this during these times. I mean, you guys did a great job. Really, no complaints going forward. You were real thorough, going through the vendors, making sure we got a
Yep.
good product. So I'm very excited to see where this takes us.
I should just, mention to Tim Sickles and, Rebecca, Lizette, Kristen, they were all very much involved in our kind of core team, and it was a great group to work with, so.
Recreation, Ann.
Yes, we have a report. Okay, currently they're still working on day camp. They're working with the county and the state, and they're coming up with guidelines. So as of now, we are planning on having day camp. There are going to be some changes, one of which is it's not going to start till after July 1st, and that also the number of campers we'll take will probably be limited. And we're going to be practicing social distancing between the groups and the individuals during camp. So, and also there'll be daily health checks for the campers. So they're continuing to take reservations. If you're interested in having your children in camp, go ahead. They're not requiring a deposit, and they're just asking that they be paid 2 weeks before camp starts. And other than that, the playgrounds, athletic fields, basketball court, and senior stairs all still remain closed until further notice.
And along the line what Ann has stated about the camps, they're 99% sure we're going to go forward with them, but there's still a stipulation if we don't meet all the proper guidelines, that camp may still not happen. We're hoping, we're working forward, as Ann stated, that we're going in the right direction, and hopefully we'll meet all the protocols. Tom was on the line with the state today. We're working with the county to make sure we meet all our guidelines, because I think everybody agrees it's very important when the parents go back to work that they have somewhere to send their children for the summer. So hopefully it's going forward. I give Tom and his team a lot of credit for working forward. I think we had one of the better camps going. It was a very regimented camp, broken down in groups another year. So I think he'll have a better hand on how to do this, because they were broken up already. He's got a lot of returning counselors. So hopefully this will all pan out the way we want it to go.
Yeah, and also we were looking at possibly expanding to another playground, if possible, to be able to accommodate more campers. So it's just a matter of how things work out.
Fire advisory, Mr. Ranahan.
No report.
Infrastructure, Mr. Carlos.
Nothing to report.
The only thing I'll add is the highway department is back, and they are out paving roads. They've done a couple roads already, so they're moving along. Personnel, Jessica.
Nothing to report?
Building consolidation.
I don't think we're ready to report anything at this point.
Okay. And supervisor's report, the only thing I have to report is town hall will be holding a food drive we've been started a couple of weeks ago. We're still taking food at town hall. If anybody wants to drop anything off, it'll be going to Poughkeepsie United Methodist Church, who will be passing it off to Dutchess Outreach. And
They need to call, right, to make sure that somebody's here to open the door to let them in?
just call, or if it's good weather during the day, they can just leave it outside by the mailboxes, and we've been able to pick up what's been dropped off.
Okay.
The town currently, we have a team moving forward on all the COVID protocols. We've met, and we're setting up for a possible opening of town hall in the future. There is no date as of yet, but we're trying to get everything in line and in check to make sure when the time comes, the public and the staff will be kept safe and healthy. And that's all I have. Anybody else have anything to bring up or discuss? No? If not, I'd like to make a motion. Be resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby adjourned to executive session to consider the following: the proposed acquisition or lease of real property, because it would substantially affect the value hereof, and be it further resolved, no action appropriate money will be taken. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The town board goes into executive session at 7:26, and everybody has the correct number to call in. At 7:30, we'll call and we'll start executive session. Thanks, everybody, and have a great night.
All right, thank you, good night.
Good night.